Hey friends, today I'm going to be taking you through one of my favorite cakes to make that's also one of the fan favorites. And by fans, I mean like friends and family that I feed my cakes to. It starts off with a base of my dark chocolate cake recipe. It's super moist and fudgy, and I use black cocoa powder in it, which gives it a very rich flavor. Then I coat it with some chocolate buttercream and fill it with chocolate ganache. I like to do a ganache where the cream to chocolate ratio is a bit higher, so the ganache doesn't harden too much and it stays soft, which creates a really nice textural component when you slice into the cake. Speaking of texture, one of my other favorite little things to add is chocolate-covered quinoa puffs. Sounds weird adding quinoa to a cake, but you don't taste the quinoa at all. They're kind of more like Rice Krispies, and then they're coated in dark chocolate. I get mine from Bulk Barn. Because they're coated in chocolate, they retain their crunch even when they're in a layer with ganache and buttercream. So you get a little unexpected crunch of flavor. You can see me adding them there, and a little bit more dark chocolate as well. I like to do 3-layer cakes because then you get more fillings versus a 2-layer cake. And I mean, who doesn't love extra fillings? And then, of course, I also love the look of tall cakes as opposed to short and stout ones, which can also be really fun to decorate, and there's a lot of cool designs you can do with them. I just happen to be on a tall cake kick at the moment. I throw the buttercream on top, and then I spread it all along down the sides. A lot of people comment that I'm putting too much buttercream on for their taste, but I scrape most of it off. So I know when I put it on top, it looks like a massive load of buttercream, but as I'm smoothing the sides out, I'm scraping the buttercream off, and then I offload it into the bowl. So right now it's just the crumb coat, so of course it's so thin that you can see the cake through it. But the final coat of buttercream isn't more than 1 centimeter thick. I do it this way because I find buttercream to be pretty sweet, so I don't like to have too much of it. But I have had people who absolutely love it in the past request that I do an extra thick coat, and that's not a problem for me. I like to make people happy and give them what they want. When I do my final coat, I heat up my scraper, which melts the buttercream a little bit as you go around, and it gives an extra shiny finish. Then I let it set and I cut off the top bit there, which gives a nice sharp edge. Now for one of my favorite parts, I use the rest of the ganache to do a curtain drip. So you just pour it on top of the chilled cake and then push it just over the edge with a spoon. As the warm ganache comes in contact with the cold cake, it starts to set, so it doesn't slide all the way down the cake, just a little bit before it hardens. And then I finish it off with a little swirl up top, which will actually get covered up by my buttercream swirls. I add my decorations after I've let the ganache set for a bit. So you can see it's lost a little bit of its shine, and that's just because it's a solid now. It's cooled and it's no longer liquid. I like to do mixed piping styles on top, so a couple swirls, a couple ruffles, and a couple rosettes. And then my signature rosette and ruffle at the front there. And this is a chocolate overload cake, so I am about to load it up with chocolate. Do a few more of those chocolate quinoa puffs for the top. And to get them along the sides, I literally just throw them at the cake. It makes a little bit of a mess, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Add some Lindt chocolate balls and chocolate bars. And then these Pocky chocolate covered sticks to give some extra height to the cake. A few Kit Kats and some chocolate melts. And a couple swirls and added bits of chocolate around the outside to even it out. That is it. Ta-da! This is one of my favorite cakes to make, and it is absolutely a crowd pleaser because almost everyone just loves chocolate. Let me know what you guys think.